It's week 4, and here we are again, giving you our picks for this week in the NFL.
Well, welcome to another edition of Notepad Sports Talk here on a Thursday night as the Thursday night NFL game is still being played. So we have our picks for the week. We had to wait and record it a little bit later in the day. My brother had some personal stuff to take care of with his school and stuff. So now that that's all done, we're able to kind of go through and kind of talk about our picks and see if we can. I'll say this little teaser here is the picks for the first 3 weeks have been pretty similar, not just mine and my brother's, but we're also picking against Chat GPT, see if we can get a better record than Chat GPT. And the records, the picks overall have been pretty similar between all three of us. Not this week. This week, it's completely different. So
awesome. So this is my opportunity to come in and pick up at least one game.
It's my opportunity to extend the lead, brother. That's what that is. So, all right. So that's what we got going on. All right. We're going to talk about the picks, go through it pretty quick. And that's just going to be the show. We'll have another show coming out on Sunday. Kind of talking about where we're at with the, as far as like wins and losses. And of course, the Major League Baseball season will be over, and we'll talk a little about baseball too later on Sunday. So until then, right, just stay tuned for that. But right now, it's all about our picks, and if we can jump in front of Chat GPT this week.
That's it. That's the goal. The goal actually is, well, I think last week you actually beat and outpicked Chat GPT, right?
I did.
By one game.
By one game. I gained one game. So Chat GPT so far for the year is still one game ahead of me.
Gotcha. So, and then we won't talk about mine. So we're just going to.
No, your first week was absolutely horrendous.
It was horrendous.
Yeah. I mean, everybody had a bad week 2, I believe it was, right? Yeah. Week 2, everybody was bad. There was what we considered a ton of upsets.
Correct. So I think I picked 7 the first week. I only got 5 the second week.
That's correct.
Last week I had, I think, another 7.
You had 8. So you would have had 50%. Yep.
All right, there we go. So that's the deal. So all right, brother. Let's hear what we got.
Okay. Well, we got to start with tonight's game. Cowboys at the Giants. All of us. You, myself, and Chat GPT all picked the Cowboys.
Now, I've been working it's homecoming week for my high school, and we were doing our float build, and I just got back. I did not see the score before I made my pick, but it's a close game. I have just looked it up. It's 14-12. Giants can't seem to find the end zone, but their kicker's keeping them in the game.
That's right. Second game, we got the Saints versus the Falcons. So Saints kind of came down to earth a little bit last week. And they kind of got their teeth kicked in. The Falcons, they're kind of look, I think I went the Falcons in this game just because I felt that being at home, I just thought they kind of would have the upper hand. I think Falcons are a talented team. And I just got a gut feeling. That's all I can say. I don't really have like a lot of analysis for this one. I just think it's really just the Falcons and a gut feeling. Chat GPT picked the Saints.
And I took the Falcons, right?
Yes. The third game, Rams at Chicago. I said this last week. I like what the Rams are doing with such a young team, and I just think they're going to keep getting better every week. And I'm still not sold on Caleb. So I went with the Rams.
Yep. I also went with the Rams.
And so did Chat GPT. That's one of the few games we all picked the same. Vikings at the Packers. Now, this is an interesting game. My brother and I, we have an agreement because of Jordan Love having the ability to, potentially play this game. And right now we don't have an official if he's in or out. So if Jordan Love plays, we have a chance to change our picks based on his availability or not. But currently, I have the Vikings to win this game, and so does Chat GPT. But Steve went different on this one.
Yeah. Yep. So I took the Packers. Just one, it was the home team. Malik Willis is doing enough in the offense to move the ball, and the defense is keeping them in it. I think that's why I did that. But I
Yeah,
also was thinking, I heard about Jordan Love, and he was questionable this week. He was limited in practice, so I'm like, I'm forecasting the hope that he might play.
and the only thing I'll say about this too is I don't think right now that the Vikings defense is getting as much love as what it should. I really like what they've been doing. So that defense that they currently have, it's look, who did the Vikings play last week again? Um hold on. I can't believe I forgot. Give me
They
a second here.
played
Um uh oh, they play the Texans. And
Texans.
they completely shut out the Texans 34-7.
Yep.
Right? Like
And the
um
Texans got a good offense.
Texans, yes, they do, and held them to
Yes,
7 points. And
yep.
you know, and again, you look, they held the Niners to 17 points in week 2. Again, I like what they're doing on defense. Week 1 is the first week of the season. It's kind of hard to judge it, but they did hold the Giants to 6 points. So again, I like what they're doing in defense, and I think that's going to be very difficult for uh, uh, Willis to
Yes.
play through. But anyways, that being said, next game, Steelers versus Colts. Everybody on this one did pick the Steelers, even though they're the away team. And I let my brother pretty much explain why. I think him and I are locked up on why we're doing this, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, Justin Fields. Look, they're undefeated, but he's got that offense working, and it might not be a lot, right? I think they're undefeated. I could be. Well, I'm sitting there saying this, but um, yeah, undefeated. So they're doing just enough on offense, and the defense is there. Uh, and they're playing a team that's got Richardson, who is just not, other than being able to throw a 60-yard bomb and complete 25% of his passes or whatever it is. Great. That's
Yeah, he's
not
not
going to win
playing
you
well.
football games.
And I agree 100% with that. Next is Broncos at the Jets. Everyone picked the Jets on this one.
Yep.
And I think it's really
Aaron
just
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, right? That's the main
Aaron,
reason.
how's right? Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers last week.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Of course, I only watched the highlights in that game. I didn't get a chance to watch the entire thing, but I mean, they won 24-3 with the Patriots. It is the Patriots, but nonetheless, he did look really good.
Yeah,
Um,
and I watched it. I saw a lot of the plays because I was watching NFL Red Zone. So shout out to NFL Red Zone because I love my NFL Red Zone. By the way,
yes, you do. Yes, you do. Uh, the next game here is Eagles at the Bucks. So this game, I think it's kind of a trap game. I really think the Bucks have a really, really good chance to win this one. I did go with the Eagles, and so did Chat GPT. I'm not sold on this pick. I don't really like it so much. This is just one that I'm kind of thinking that the Bucks will walk away with a W here. But
yeah,
anyway, my brother did go with the Buccaneers, though.
I did. I think they're playing better ball than the Eagles, and they're playing at home.
And they're playing at home. So we'll see if that game actually goes through. We got, of course, the hurricane. Not sure how much damage it's going to do down there in Tampa. But, hopefully everybody down there stays safe and there's not a lot of damage so we can get that game played. The next game is the Bengals versus the Panthers. This is an interesting one because, again, Chat GPT went with the Bengals on this. And it's hard for me to pick the Bengals. Because they are looking terrible.
They look
One of
bad.
the worst 0-3 teams. And look, I don't know if you've seen this or not. I seen a stat. Oh wait, is it this one? Yeah, it is this one. No, I'm sorry, not this one. It's the next game. Never mind. I'll wait to the next game to tell you the stat I saw. So never mind. I'll wait. Um, but yeah, my brother and I will both went the Panthers, and yeah, Chat GPT went with the Bengals.
Yeah. Andy Dalton looked for real back there in that offense. It looked like a completely different Carolina offense with him
It did
running
look
it.
completely different.
He was getting protection. He got the ball out on time. So going with the Red Rocket, right? I think that's what his nickname is. Red something.
Then yeah, it's something having to do with his hair color, but
It's got something to do with her.
the next game is Jaguars at the Texans, and again, ChatGPT went with the away team here, which is actually we'll talk about in a minute, but that's kind of what they've been doing in this week. And my brother and I both went with the Texans. This is what I was talking about. I see this on I forget which show it was, but they were talking about this. They compare two quarterbacks, right? One of the quarterbacks they were looking at was Trevor Lawrence, and they were comparing Trevor Lawrence to Daniel Jones, and uh, and so the last 8 games, what they've been doing, and like the stats are very very similar. And then they're like, okay, well, if you think we're just nitpicking, just picking out these games that that obviously that Trevor Lawrence has lost, and just these games when he's played his worst. They went all the way back and looked at both of their careers, and it's almost the exact same stats in terms of like touchdowns, interceptions, yards per pass. Like it is crazy how similar it is.
Yeah,
And
and they both got really hefty contracts.
especially Trevor Lawrence, like his was massive. I mean, I know Daniel Jones was too, but Trevor Lawrence I think was in the top 3 or something like that, or top 4 in terms of quarterback pay. So
I think
at any
he's.
rate,
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, tired. But Trevor
yeah,
Lawrence, that the Jaguars team is, and I know that's probably why you call it. They can be sneaky good. Like when things are clicking, right? When all the pieces are like ETN is running the ball well, the defense is playing well. They don't rely on Trevor Lawrence to do a whole lot, right?
yep, yep.
They're a good football team. So that's their winning formula, but they have to be able to do that. But
Speaking of
that's why I took the
like
Texans.
speaking of all these quarterbacks, right? I want to read this real quick. I found this on Facebook today or yesterday. I'm sorry, this is yesterday, and it's talking about quarterbacks. So I want to read this verbatim, and I thought I put it in here who's said it, but obviously I did not. So I can't credit it, and I apologize. But here's what it said. I thought this was great. And it's one of those like thought provoking things. Bengals paid Joe Burrow $275 million, $55 million on average, and he's been 50% of his career in IR. And the Bengals are 0-3 so far this season. Dolphins and Packers both paid the QBs $55 million a year, and both QBs are currently injured and not playing. Chargers paid Justin Herbert $52.5 million per year just to hire a run-heavy coach. Plus, Herbert continues to suffer and potentially miss time with injuries. Eagles paid Jalen Hurts $51 million a year, and he's been extremely hot and cold. Hurts is currently tied for third with most interceptions this year in 24. Broncos traded 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds, and more for Russell Wilson. They're currently paying $53 million for Wilson to the backup quarterback in Pittsburgh. 49ers traded 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance, and he's only made 4 starts in the league. Panthers traded 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and DJ Moore for Bryce Young, and he was benched after 2 games this season. And they're saying, going back further, Eagles paid Carson Wentz $32 million a year for 4 years, and he was replaced by Hurts less than 2 years later. And then talk about Rams paying Jared Goff. And then, of course, he got traded for 2 first-round picks and for Matthew Stafford. The point of this post is talking about, like hindsight is 2020, obviously, but at the time, you have to make the decisions, but more times than not, quarterbacks don't live up to the contracts that they receive. So,
and that's why I think we've talked about this a little bit on some of our shows, right? It's just like I've noticed when players get paid, they don't live up to the check, right? The only one that I've seen so far that like you can think about when Patrick Mahomes got his was it 10 whatever his $400 million contract for 10 years, right?
Right.
He's the only one that's living up to that money, and I know they've restructured that and it's now more. But like as far as quarterback play, I like Jared Goff got signed, right? And he has not been the guy that we had last year.
I'd say, look, last game was pretty decent. I
It
can't really
was,
knock
it
him
was,
for that. I know
it was better. It was
it was
better. So
better.
it wasn't.
I know he had the interception, but it was still better play.
Yes, I'm just, I'm not coming and saying like this is going to be a crap year because he signed his contract, but it's just that's always in my mind. When is it Antonio Pierce, the Raiders head coach, at the end of that game last week, he was talking about
Yeah.
how bad it
People
was.
making business decisions.
Business decisions. He says, and we're going to make some business decisions too, right?
Yeah.
I think that was about the most honest statement, right, that
Yeah.
I've heard. And I know it came from a coach, and everyone's, they can say whatever they want. He's the coach, right? But I am sitting here telling you, there is not a time that I have not ever thought that, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
You're right. Yeah.
the fact that you heard it from your coach, whether you like him, like Antonio Pierce as a coach or not, I'm going to give him credit for that because that's he said what people were thinking.
Yep.
And I'll just say that.
I was gonna bring that up later on. We talked about that game, but
okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's cool. Like, but anyways, I just want to talk about the quarterback stuff because we're talking about Trevor Lawrence, and I just thought that was kind of interesting, that post that was made. But again, I apologize. I cut off the like who actually posted it, said it, and I meant to give credit, but I don't know who it is, so I can't do that. Next game we got is the Commanders at Arizona for the Cardinals there. I was a lone dog here. I went with the Cardinals. I think that they're sneaky good, and I think that they could stand a good chance to beat the Commanders, especially at home. I know, Jaden played, probably his best game of his career so far. I know it's early in his career, but
3 games
last week. But I like the Cardinals' chances on this one.
And I went the home team for it. That's I know they're not the home team, but they're my home team.
You're being a homer, is what you're saying.
I am being a homer.
Yeah.
So I went with the Commanders.
Next game, the Patriots at the Niners. Everybody went with the Niners. Patriots are just a really bad team, and until they get like a real quarterback, I don't.
And they've got
we
don't really know what we got out of either one, but they got 2 rookies right now.
Yep.
Joe Milton, who's got a cannon,
and Drake May.
And Drake May.
Right.
So,
and talk was that Milton outplayed May during the preseason and practices. So that's interesting.
Yep.
But,
well, do you know what that is? That's the Redskins drafting RG3, and then a couple of rounds later doing Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
and then look, who's still in the league playing. Yeah. Right. So, we'll soon see.
This next game was really hard for me to decide personally. Browns at the Raiders, and again, as my brother already talked about, the whole thing with the Raiders, and I think it really depends on how the Raiders respond to what their coach was saying. Correct. Like, are they going to respond positively and and show up and play hard, or are they basically going to say, you're going to call us out, coach, and kind of roll over and just basically make them a dead duck or dead colt, whatever you want to use. Like,
he could end up being a lame duck coach.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. Thanks, brother.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. It is political season, so we got to talk about some lame ducks. But I think that's because Browns are not a good team, and they're not.
But yeah, so we have to see how Raiders respond.
This pick actually is: do you take Myles Garrett or Max Crosby? Those are your choices.
Well, if you say those two,
either one of them is a good choice. So I went with the Max Crosby,
and I also went with the Raiders, but the Chat GPT went with the Browns. So, next game again, I'm not liking my pick necessarily on this one either. But it's Chiefs at the Chargers. I know the Chargers have not played well. I'm just looking for. I went with the Chargers. I'm alone, and again, I went alone on this pick as well. But it's not a. Like I said, it's not a pick I'm really confident in. I just, again, it's more of a gut feeling than just sitting there
Yeah,
saying, I think they're going to win because of this matchup or something like that. I just got a
yeah,
gut feeling that somehow, in some way, the Chargers are going to come away with this one, and it's going to be one of those uh, games where they try to keep Mahomes off the field, and they're just going to win it
yeah.
a very close game at the end.
All right, well, and that's the kind of game that Harbaugh's going to play, and that's his offense. That's what he wants to run. Justin Herbert, I don't think he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have Easton Stick, or I forget who the other crack guy is. So
And it might,
and they didn't play well in relief of Herbert last week, and
and
the
if
Chargers
Herbert
lost.
doesn't play, I think that's another game where we get like a little mulligan to try to change the picks here,
Okay.
depending, because I think they need Herbert to even have a chance.
I think so too.
Um,
But
Bills at the Ravens. That's another game. I'm alone. I went with the Ravens on this one. Where Chat GPT and Steve went with the Bills.
Josh
Go
Allen
ahead.
MVP.
There you
Josh
say. I was
Allen
gonna say, say
MVP.
your
Josh
line. Say
Allen
your line.
MVP. Josh
Yeah.
Allen MVP.
So yeah, that's why he went with the Bills. It's a good pick. I
That's
mean,
it.
obviously, Bills are a tough team. I just think they're gonna lay an egg. That's all. And it happens to good teams. Good
And
teams
it
lay
does have.
eggs.
Look, the Lions went out and had a high profile win week 1 and then laid an egg in week 2. Right? We should be
Yep,
3-0. That's how
should
it
be.
should be, but it's not. That's how it is.
That's not how it is. I mean, you can't have Jared Goff throwing 50 times a game.
No.
The next game is the Titans at the Dolphins. I mean, look, Dolphins overall is a better team, I think, but you're on a third string
Talent-wise,
quarterback. Yeah,
but they're
and
going to be on
talent
a
wise,
third string
absolutely.
quarterback. Yeah, yeah.
And then you got Levis. Like,
Who's playing like a high school quarterback?
he took a huge step back from last year, from what I can tell so
Yes.
far. But I still went with the Titans. It's really tough to win when you have a third string quarterback.
And you're only going to have basically a week of prep. And not even that, right? So you got film study on Monday. They do some walkthroughs. It's not like it's the first game and you've had the preseason, right?
Right. Yep.
So
Yep.
that third string quarterback hasn't seen the field since the preseason.
And the final game of the week, Monday Night Football, we have the Seahawks coming to Detroit to get beat by our very own Lions.
That's right.
So everybody picked the Lions to win this one. And look, I think the Lions lost the last 6 games versus the Seahawks, but as we were talking earlier before the show, a lot of it has to do with some bad referee calls. I think this is the year that everything's turning around for the Lions. Well, it turned around last year, but I mean, like, this is the year that it's like
They start to
everything is
get
going to
those
be in
calls
their favor, right?
Yes.
Yes. So this is they're going to win this one. I just know it's going to happen. Like,
You know what happens? Like, and it's weird. It's not like we see these bad calls, right? And they were bad, right?
yeah,
But that was they were losing all the time, right? So teams that don't win tend to not get those calls.
that's
So
right.
they have, in the last 2 years now, this is going to be year 3, and the Lions have had a good start. So we've made the determination and said that some of those calls are going to start balancing out, we'll call it.
And another quick little tidbit. This is what I thought was interesting. All right, when I was looking at Chat GPT's picks, I noticed out of 16 games, they had the away team winning in 12 of those matchups.
It's 2/3, right? 2/3, 12, or no,
Yeah, 12 out of 16,
3/4,
3/4.
3/4, 75%.
Yeah. So and just so we'll break down the rest. Steve has 7 games where the away team is going to win, and I have 5.
Yeah, like I said, this could be my week.
It could be. It won't be.
Week. To make
It
up
won't
a
be.
little ground. How's this? All I want to do is make up one game. If I can make up one game, right,
Yep.
then that's all you need. And I say that because as we end, and I know we were talking about this, the Tigers have now won again. They have
Yes.
3 more games for the season. They have a
They came
chance
from
to win.
behind and won this
Yeah, they
one.
came from behind, and they have a chance to win 87 games if they went out, of course. Right? They are currently 2 games above the Twins. They are tied with the Royals, and they are in the playoffs as of today.
As of today.
As of today, if they were to play today, they'd play Cleveland. No, not Cleveland. Cleveland and the Yankees. I think have the bye, right?
Uh,
I just looked
yeah,
at
I
it and
think
now
so.
I
Yeah, it
lost
doesn't.
my.
I just want to check to see. Ooh, the Twins came back and tied up with the Marlins in the bottom of the ninth.
Oh,
Yep, yep. That sucks.
yeah.
Let's keep an eye on that game there. But
So I think we would
uh,
be the 6th seed if it ended today. And I take that back. If we went out, we'd win 88 games, not 87.
the good news though is coming
And we
up,
play Houston.
um, the Tigers have the White Sox.
The White Sox. So, and we would be playing Houston at Houston, I think, right? They don't do it by record because Houston has the better won the division, and the wild card team would always go on the road, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. So Detroit would be at Houston for a 3-game set. We'd take 2. We're going to the ALDC. We're going to the ALDS.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
All right. Well, we stuck a few other things into the show. It's 30 minutes. I think a 30-minute show for picks is actually really good. You get a little bit of our analysis and why we make our picks. So for those of you that hang out and listen to us, we appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll be talking with you soon.
Yep. Sunday, just
Yep.
stay
We're gonna
alert.
wait till after the 4 o'clock
That one.
or till the 4 o'clock game starts. That way we'll, the first 7 or 8 games will be done.
Yep. And we can get a little bit of seeing if Steve made up any ground or not.
Yep.
Yep. So to watch out for that show. And other than that, again, I appreciate you listening. We are going to leave you with that and just say we appreciate you and talk to you later.
Take care, everybody. All right. 13 minutes left in the 4th quarter. The Giants